Good afternoon. I'm going to introduce the unit created for the subject content and language integrated learning for the Masters in Education International. The unit plan is about traveling waves. First of all, I want to comment on the goal. As this is an integrated unit with language, the global goal of this unit is going to be to develop formal writing and presentation skills. We're going to see how we're going to do that. The first thing I'm going to comment on is the objectives. There are different objectives for the unit. The first one we're going to be going on the 4 C's. The first one is going to be content. The content is going to be the typical content. It's extracted from the IGCSE physics course, and it's going to be the introduction to the topic. It's going to be about what are waves, about the characteristics of waves, the different types of waves. We're going to be studying also how to solve problems related to waves, and also the different properties of waves. For the language objectives, what we want to do is to develop first the key vocabulary. So all these concepts like waves, vibration, amplitude, period, frequency, wavelength, all these vocabularies. What we want to develop. Those are going to be new words that are going to be introduced to the students, and that they need to be able to understand and to first state definitions, and then be able to build their own the definitions. The second objective for language it's going to be to structure a formal proposal. So the final end of this unit is going to be that applying some scientific knowledge related to waves, they will need to be able to develop a formal proposal that has all the structure required. So it has to have some background research, the objectives, and they will need to make this formal proposal in form of essay and then a presentation. The language for learning, we want to develop asking between peers questions about what do you know, what's something, can you tell me something else about waves. We're going to be classifying. They're going to be looking at different types of waves, and they're going to be able to classify them. And they are going to compare and contrast the different types of waves, longitudinal and transverse waves, and they're going to see that difference is the direction of the traveling direction of the vibration. Then the language through learning, they are going to retain this vocabulary. They are going to make explanation and make use of these peer explanations in order to improve their own, or in order to give productive feedback to the other students. They are also going to be the objectives for the language, yeah. And then we're going to language for communication. Then we're going to go to the cognition, and they will be able to build the vocabulary to learn how to use it, and they will be able to apply the key concepts of the unit in different contexts, and they will need to apply also the knowledge of this unit to solve exercises set up in familiar and non-familiar situations. So for the culture, for the cultural objectives of this unit is going to be to make a research on earthquakes on their own countries, and they're going to become aware of the consequences of earthquakes, and they going to see a little bit the recommendations in case of earthquake, in case of a tsunami, and the first objective should be always that they can understand that they that they can learn in no matter on which language they are using. So, in order to reach all these objectives, the students are going to be following different formative and summative assessments that we are going to see how they are structured and what are the aims of each of these assessments. So basically, the unit is divided into 8 periods, being one period 1 hour and 15 minutes, and the last period is going to be reserved. We will see later in the document, but the last period is going to be reserved for reviewing or for presenting. We will see, and we will need to scaffold and see if we need that session for reviewing or not, and that's the kind of information that we need to be extracting from all these units, from these lessons and exercises. So the first we are going to do before to start with anything about the unit is to try to activate the background knowledge. Students should know on grade 10 already things about waves, so but probably they didn't see anything for the last couple of years, so it will be, or 1 year and a half, so it will be nice to see what they know and what they remember. So we are going to do this activity, and this activity is just to activate previous knowledge and to see if they remember some of the vocabulary. So what we're going to do is to ask the students what they know about waves and give them a few minutes to reflect. One will give an explanation. The following one will receive that explanation. We'll see if that explanation is correct or not, and if he wants to complement the explanation with others. And like this, we will continue through all the students, and we will see what they actually remember. The next thing that they are going to work on is on the worksheet. The worksheet is going to be covering the lower level of Bloom's taxonomy, remember. So this is Bloom's taxonomy. The idea is that we are going to be following with these assessments and with this unit a progression from bottom to top. So remember, it's going to be the lower level of Bloom's taxonomy and create the highest level. So if we want to be able to create, we need to pass through all these stages. So first we need to start by the first one, which is remember. So in order to remember, we've created this is the didactic worksheet that we're going to see now. Excuse me. And they are going to have this worksheet. They are going to have a text about waves, about the different wave characteristics, and then they are going to see a video about explaining a little bit more detail all this information from the text. They are going to see videos about the different type of waves, transverse and longitudinal, and they will have also a simulation. That's important because we want to try to cover the maximum type of learners. So if we have a simulation, we have a video, we have a text, we're going to give information for the different type of people. And now, again, this was the idea of this was to only remember, so we're going to have a question where they will need to find all this terminology and work on the vocabulary. So this is important on the writing and on here we're going to have again all graphic, and this is extracted from this. They're going to be labeling. We're going to be using this strategy to use visual stimulus, so they can match definitions. They can match parts of a wave. That's going to be the first unit. On the second unit, on the second lesson, what we're going to do is to do this work with peers. They will be doing exercises Those exercises are going to be just extracted from IGCSE past papers, but they are going to be, if we look at the levels of Bloom taxonomy, they are going to be already covering remember, understand, and apply. So, because they will have 45 minutes to cover everything, and then they will work in groups, but everybody needs to understand, so they are able to explain afterwards during the last 30 minutes these exercises. On the third lesson, they will be working on a research, so they will make a research in order to match with the cultural objectives of the unit about research in the country, and about earthquake in the world. And here they will start to develop a proposal, and we will give resources so they can work on proposals. So remember that was one of the last targets of the unit. And here we will pass to the lesson 4. The lesson 4 we will go again a little bit lower on the Bloom's taxonomy pyramid. They will watch this video about the properties, and they will match images with the related to the properties with the explanation and with the label. So that's again going to be remember, and then we're going to be going higher in the pyramid. And they're going to be make a peer evaluation. They will explain something, and student will make use of the rubrics to give feedback on the explanation. They will have these rubrics. We will look these rubrics, and these rubrics they will be used again on the summative assessment. So we go into the lesson 5, and they will need to keep adding. Remember this. They will need to keep adding vocabulary to the Padlet. They will have a Padlet, or in each unit they will add a vocabulary to work on vocabulary. The next one will be in lesson 5. In lesson 5, they will go to these higher levels, evaluate and analyze. So they will use the knowledge on properties of waves to explore different situations, or what the Wi-Fi waves do to reach their phone, and what kind of properties do they. So with this, also they will be able to evaluate, I don't know, how many signal they will receive, if the door is open, if not, they will see, and they will be able to evaluate. So the next one will be, this is a rotating station. This is just an exercise to review, and then the last one is the summative assessment. Remember, the objective of the unit was to make a proposal. So this is the proposal. They will need to write a proposal. They will need to use all this terminology. They will need to explain the properties of waves in order to create a soundproof room for recording in the school. So again, we go to Bloom's taxonomy, and they are finding a new solution, they are making a new project, and that's the highest order of thinking that we can reach from the students. So we're going to see that this role play is going to be graded using the rubrics that they've been practicing before, and they're going to have some objectives that are going to be only content-based. They're going to have some that are a mix of content and language objectives, so they're going to use making effective use of the scientific language. That's half content and half language, actually, for physics. And the last one will be language objectives, so it will be just to how they structure the proposal, if they record the sources, if they not, if they use the right format or not. So basically, that's the progression that we've been doing during the unit in order to reach all the objectives. Thank you very much.